24-03370. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Elizabeth Mays. Will the parties please introduce themselves to the record? Mrs. L.
Gabrielle Zell, Assistant Prosecutor for the People.
Mr. Tomal.
Your Honor, Eric Tomal for defendant who's present.
And ma'am, you are Elizabeth Michelle Mays, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. This is the time set for a sentencing in the matter. And Mrs. Zell, is there any restitution on this file?
No, Your Honor, there is not.
Mr. Tomal, have you had the opportunity to go through the pre-sentence report with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any additions, deletions, or corrections?
No.
Allocution, Mr. Tomal.
Your Honor, as the report reflects, Liz, she's 24. She basically has no prior convictions. She's got this blemish out of Florida. As the court's aware, this case started as a two-count felony case. It got reduced for a reason. This case could have easily went to trial because of Liz's young age and inexperience with the court system. That's part of the reason why she didn't want to risk it. So we worked it out in a favorable fashion to both sides. I'm asking the court to grant YT status. Probation is recommending 8 months. It's kind of an odd number to me. It's usually 6 or 12. Considering her record, I had asked the court to consider 6 months. And is this a probationary kind of case where she can request discharge at halfway point if she's successful in getting everything done? Lastly, Your Honor, on the third page of the recommendation, talks about conditions, talks about random PBTs and drops, the bars. This case had nothing to do with drugs or alcohol. It's a self-defense case. I'm not sure that's really necessary. I'll leave that to the court's best discretion.
If I remember correctly, this was a kind of a fight at a house between friends.
Then it shifted to another house.
Okay.
Then it ended up outside by a vehicle. Then the victim got aggressive with my client.
Right.
It could easily have been self-defense at a trial.
All right. All right. Anything you'd like to say to the court before the court passes sentence of Ms. Mays?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Mrs. L.
Your Honor, we would just like to say that we would agree to the height of status in this case, and we would leave it to the court's discretion on how long to leave the probation open for. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, this is for conduct which occurred on guilty plea of December 13, 2024 on the assault and battery case. So I'm going to follow the recommendation with some tweaks concerning the Zoom record, the probationary term. It is ordered that the defendant spend 2 days in jail with credit given for 2 days previously served. The fines and costs in this matter will be a fine of $200, cost of $200, crime victims' rights fee of $75, state minimum cost fee of $50. I'm going to reduce probation to 6 months. So that'll be $180 probation. And I'll give you a grand total of that. So that's $30 a month probation, but probation will be for 6 months on this matter. And that would be a grand total of 400 plus 75 plus 50 plus 180 equals 705. That can be paid over the course of your probation. Okay, the HYTA is granted, and that's really that's the big thing here. Okay, it's abstracted differently. So the YTA is granted. You have no contact with the victims at this time over the course of probation, the 6 months. That's Devarian Copeland or Miranda Gonzalez, or to be within 2,000 feet of where they work, go to school, direct or indirect. If that changes, if the relationship changes, or that's Mr. Copeland or Ms. Gonzalez can contact the probation officer, understanding that this was kind of a fray. Okay, from best I can tell. No assaultive or threatening behavior, no use of possession of alcohol, marijuana, or controlled substance without a prescription, but you are not being submitted to random PBTs and your analysis just because that costs money. Okay, every time you have to go and drop, they charge you for it, and so So if you get in trouble, like you get a drunk driving or you get in trouble and you're drinking, they're going to hook you up. Okay, there's going to be a warrant out for you because you're not to have to be in possession of alcohol, marijuana, or controlled substance, but you're not going to be tested for it. All right. All right. No bars or nightclubs, probably a good idea just to avoid all that right now. There's complete the following rehabilitative services, pay fees, and provide proof of completion. The moral recognition therapy is probably a good idea. If nothing else, it gets you more the understanding that maybe there are better ways to handle this. We're treating this completely as a learning experience. All right, you have no prior history, so we're just going to treat this as a learning experience. The fact of the matter is we don't want this to happen again, right?
Right.
You don't want this to happen again. Mr. Tomal doesn't want this to happen again. So that's the key. Obtain and maintain employment, not purchase or possess firearms, ammunition, or weapons of any kind over the 6-month period. And then you can report via Zoom, which is on the order. You probably, I don't know who your probation agent is, ma'am. Let's see who did the report. Looks like Nathaniel Neves. He's a pretty flexible guy, okay, pretty fair guy. So if you go and make sure you know when to report to him on the 5th floor, just get everything via Zoom. This 6 months should go by pretty quickly. All right. Anything else for the record in 2403370, Mrs. Zell?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Tomal.
So is this a halfway point? She can ask for discharge?
Yes, and usually I hear from the probation agent though that if you're doing, but yeah, you can motion for after 3 months if everything's taken care of to have your probation reduced. I'm usually looking for something from the victim in an assault case to say like this is fine, but let Mr. Neves know that after 3 months he could come to me also. All right. All right.
Should she report right away today?
No, she doesn't have to report today, but she wants to make sure she's on the same page. Yeah. So if you want to go down to the 5th floor, you can. I'm going to make it all look pretty because nobody can read my writing. So if you want to go down to the 5th floor and just make sure you know the rules, that's fine. At some point, check in. All right. Check in the next, I'd say by next week, just to make sure that you know how and when and where. All right. All right, I'm going to sign the judgment accordingly. And you should be all set, ma'am. Thank you for your appearance today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tomal.
Can I report briefly?
Yes.
When y'all. No, I can't. Why is it not showing your question?
On the cell phone, 3569, can you identify yourself? On the cell phone with the last numbers 3569, can you identify yourself?
Christopher Bryson.
Christopher
Bryson.
Frison. Bryson. Right, you're here for your 9 o'clock?
Yes.
All right. I believe your attorney's here.
Right here.
All right, so so you're in the right place, stand by, all right, sir?
Am I in the right place? What?
You're in the right place, so stand by at this time.
Okay. All right.
And then is it Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
All right, what case are you here? You're here for your 9:30?
Yes, sir.
All right, you are also in the right place. So stand by at this time. We have a few cases to call in front of you.
Okay.
All right.
I'm caught up. Thank you, Judge. I just
All
want to
right.
make sure.
Yeah,
I
and
got
All right, so we're on the record in docket 22024000. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Sabrina Glass. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Mrs. L.
Gabrielle Zell, Assistant Prosecutor for the People.
Ms. Donnelly.
Assistant Public Defender Sarah Donnelly on behalf of the defendant Sabrina Glass, who is to my right.
And ma'am, you are Sabrina Glass, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. This time set for a probable cause hearing. Mrs. L, how are we proceeding, or would you like to defer?
Your Honor, it's my understanding we are going to be leaving this case set for the preliminary exam.
And is that a fair statement, Ms. Donnelly?
It is, Your Honor. Pardon me, Ms. Glass. I just remembered that in regards to reported pretrial services, I did get an email this morning from Andy Dwyer that you still need to report. So I printed off the information that you need, like phone number. I'm going to give it to you before you leave. So we'll take care of that.
All right, perfect. All right, so we'll leave on for preliminary examination on February 28, 2025 at 8:30. That's a week from today, live in person on the 6th floor right here, just like you are now. Okay, ma'am? Anything else for the record in docket 22024000, Mrs. L?
Not for the people.
Ms. Donnelly?
Not from defense.
You're all set, Ms. Glass. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Judge, I'm gonna put Jesus Johnson in a breakout room with his attorney.
Okay. All right. Johnson. And is Mr. Kaplan from the PD's office?
Yes, he's a new hire.
I haven't seen, all right. What case are we here? I see Mr. I know somebody else is here. I can't remember.
We could go on Hua Haji with Mr. Doyle.
Oh, Mr. Doyle. That's right.
Do we have a separate counsel on that one?
Yes.
Let's see.
Thank you.
He's got it.
Okay.
All right. So Mr. Doyle, you can provide that to Ms. Slayback and we'll put it in the file. Thank you.
Judge, I do believe that they need an interpreter, but I haven't had one check in with me.
Language.
Somali? But I believe it, I don't know, maybe that was for the.
I
arraignment,
have,
but it's-
they used language line at the arraignments and there it is marked with interpreter.
You really want to do that?
Oh, wait.
Is there an interpreter in Zoom by chance? All right, the circuit court must
So-
not have ordered it.
All right.
So we will get one for the, whatever we're calling next.
So do, I see there's supposed to be an interpreter here and there's not on this case.
I believe that's correct.
But are you leaving this on or we keep?
We are leaving this on.
Let me check the whole.
And Mr. Doyle, can you communicate at least well enough with your client that we're just leaving it on for next week?
Yes, I have.
Okay, all right. Let's do that and then we'll make sure and order or reorder the interpreter be here because there's obviously a language gap here. That's, you know. By the way, I've known Mr. Doyle for years, so it's not, so when I'm trying to figure out what's his name, it's not because I don't know him. I've just known him for years. All right, so let's do that. We're on the record in 25-00331. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Hawa Haji. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Mrs. Al,
Gabrielle Zell, Assistant Prosecutor for the people.
Mr. Doyle.
Good morning, Your Honor. Dan Doyle, appearing on behalf of Mr. Hawahaji, who is present and standing to my right in the courtroom.
And ma'am, you are Hawa Haji, is that correct? Okay, so that's a yes, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. This is a time set for a probable cause conference. Mrs. Zell, it's my understanding, we're leaving this on, but I'll go ahead and let you make the record.
Yes, Your Honor, it is our hope today to get, to leave this set for the preliminary exam that I believe is set for next week. And this, just to put this on the record for the court, this is a co-defendant case. However, defense has indicated that they are fine leaving it separated from the other cases.
All right. And that's a fair statement, Mr. Doyle. We are leaving it on for February 28th at 9 o'clock, and we are keeping it separate, or it's being tried separate from the co-defendants. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 co-defendants.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Is that a fair statement, Mr. Doyle?
It is, Your Honor.
All right. My understanding is we have that we've ordered a Somali interpreter for the matter. We're able to communicate with the defendant, so she knows we'll leave this on. But we'll feel better. We'll order a Somali interpreter for the preliminary examination. Mr. Doyle.
Yes, Your Honor. I just want to indicate specifically the language is K-I-Z-I-G-U-A.
1 second, please.
Okay, so I have Somali Z-I-G-N-A, and you're indicating it's K-I-Z-I-G-N-A?
Say K-I-Z-I-G-U-A.
K-I-Z-I-G-U-A.
G-U-A.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
All right, and I'll make that appropriate change. And I know that they use language line at the arraignment. So it's K-I-Z-I-G-U-A. All right. So, Ms. Haji, we're leaving this on for next Friday at 9, where we'll have an interpreter. We will give you notice, so you'll get notice in hand, and we'll see you here at 9 o'clock next Friday. All right, ma'am? All right. Anything else for the record in docket 25-00331, Mrs. Zell?
Not for the people.
Mr. Doyle?
No, Your Honor. Thank
All
you.
right. We'll see you next week. Thank you for your appearance today. So are the other co-defendants on somebody else's docket, or are they yet to be picked up?
They are on your docket, Your Honor. I believe that the arraignment, at the arraignment, Ms. Haji was the first to be arraigned and everybody else was arraigned.
All right, so they arranged
after.
separately and then,
Yeah.
okay,
So I think they are actually on our PCC docket next week.
okay. That makes, I was just wondering if we have to consolidate, and it doesn't. It seems like they're all with me, which is good. And so Mr. Kaplan is in with Mr. Johnson. Do you have anybody assigned to, oh, that's Mr. Kaplan.
Mr. Jackson is been denied a CAA.
Mr. Jackson.
We're not muted, just so you know, Judge.
Oh, he's in with Mr. All right, Mr. Jackson, we'll call your case. You can unmute. Jareth Jackson,
Good
you can
morning.
unmute. Okay, we're on the record in docket 25-00382. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Jareth Jackson. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Mrs. L.
Gabrielle Zell, Assistant Prosecutor for the People.
And sir, you are Jareth Jackson, is that correct?
Yes,
And it's my understanding that you are not represented by counsel at the PCC, is that correct, sir?
not at the moment. They're supposed to be getting back with me today to reset up representation. I will be represented by the PD.
Okay, so you were denied by the PD on what date?
I
Uh,
reached out today. They told me that he was denied this morning.
All right, so the public defender's office said this morning that you were denied public defender status. Do you plan to make reapplication to that agency?
Yes, I do.
But you should do that. We'll just leave this on. You should do that as fast as you can because you have a week from today to make your application. And this is actually a reapplication. So they should have a lot of that. They should have a lot of the paperwork. You're going to have to make a determination as to why they couldn't take you as a client. And then if that's the case, we'll address that at the prelim. So we're going to leave this on for prelim. And the prelim is set for February 28th at 8:30. So that'll be, Mr. Jackson, that'll be live in person on the 6th floor of City Hall of Lansing in courtroom 3. And that'll be next week at 8:30. You should make application today or reapplication today if you want the public defender's office to represent you at the matter. If not, you need to retain an attorney within the next week. All right, sir?
Okay.
All right. So you're to be here live. Zoom is inappropriate, not appropriate. You're to be here live on the 6th floor on February 28th at 8:30. All right, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else for the record in 25-00382, Mrs. Zell?
Not for the people.
All right. Mr. Jackson, we'll see you next week at 8:30. Thank you for your appearance today.
All right. Thank you.
How you doing?
Mr. Kaplan, could you return to the courtroom so we could call some cases, please?
Yep, be right there.
There we go. Thank you.
There we go. Oh. Can you hand me his Alexa? You might be going ahead and. Okay.
I'll be talking to my wife so you can look at her browse, nigga.
It's your turn. Where did that other stuff?
So we call.
Sorry.
If we could actually go back on the record with Ms. Terrell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Feigelson. I think that's my phone.
Everything smoked.
Calling on a search warrant. So we are on the record, back on the record in 24-02-344. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Cecilia Terrell. Will the parties please introduce themselves to the record? Mrs. Zell.
Gabrielle Zell, Assistant Prosecutor for the People.
Mr. Feigelson.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning again. Assistant Public Defender Stephen Feigelson on behalf of Ms. Terrell, standing to my right today.
And ma'am, you are Cecilia Terrell, is that correct? All right, thank you. This is the time set for a forensic review. Miss Zell, how we proceed?
Your Honor, I believe we both parties will be stipulating to the report.
All right, and is that a fair statement, Mr. Feigelson?
It is, Your Honor. I do want to put, I know we were here earlier. Ms. Terrell was here. I just, for whatever one reason or another, I didn't see her in the hallway.
Okay, so, and I do have the, make sure I have the right order to sign. So this will be, this will be a stipulation for forensic, for the review hearing in regards to the report that was issued by Flora Krapko and dated February 12th, 2025. Is that correct, Ms. Zell?
That is, Your Honor.
And is that correct, Mr. Feigelson?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Okay. With that stipulation, we have a stipulation to the report at the forensic hearing. I have signed the order which indicates the defendant is incompetent to stand trial but restorable. And I will sign the order accordingly. And then we will await for some document, but I think what we do is we set a control date,
Right.
just so it doesn't fall through the cracks. And then you'll let us know on the time frame that we're looking at. I think
it's 18 months.
I think it's 18 months, and on some they're really fast on, and then others it that's why we set it. So let's set it for 60 days out. Do you think that would be?
That might be enough time to know where we are, but I think it's generally my experience.
A little longer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's try 90. Let's go 90 days out. So that's been my experience too, that we show up and then we either get it within 90 days or then we need to poke somebody to remind them that they need to do a report. All right. So we will set a control date.
Judge, I believe Mr. Milks informed us last week that we had to set them within 60 days for a review.
For a review, if we're waiting for a report or if we have a report.
If we have the report. I mean, I'll gladly go out 90 days. I was just making sure.
I think I don't know. I don't know if it's 60 or 90 days.
Judge, we can do 6 days.
Let's do, yeah. I just got a feeling we're gonna come 60 and they're not gonna have it. But let's sooner's better than later. But all right, 60 days out.
April 24th at 9.
April 24th at 9 a.m.
Judge, I probably will not be here. I'll be in another trial, unfortunately, but we need to be on the record for that.
Not necessarily. If we have a report, good, and then somebody can cover for you. I mean, we'll just have the report. If not, if we don't have the report, then we'll show up, somebody can cover, and we'll just set another 60 days out.
It's good enough for me, Judge.
Yeah. What we're doing is we're waiting for the report to come in that indicates that you're competent to stand trial. Although Mr. Terrell, as far as I'm concerned, you've made pretty big strides in this area already. So the case is adjourned for 60 days to get another report. I've signed the order of incompetency, and the new report, or at least review of this, will be 60 days out on April 24th. Anything else for the record? And you have notice of that, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else for the record in docket 2402344, Mrs. Zell?
Not for the people.
Mr. Feigl?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're all set, Mr. L. We'll see you on that April
Thank you so
24th
much.
case.
Thank you, Mr.
And then who's next, Mrs. Zell?
I believe we can just start working our way down the list. We want to do Keyshawn Ray.
Mr. Ray? Okay.
If mine is out of order, I do apologize. I don't have a printed out version of today's docket.
So far, you're good. So far.
They printed the docket 2 weeks before today's date, so the docket that I have is incorrect.
All right.
Let me get one.
And sir, you are Mr. Kaplan, is that correct?
Correct. Your
Okay,
Honor.
thank you. All right. So we're on the record in docket 2500386. That is People of the State of Michigan versus Keyshawn Lamar Ray. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Mrs. Zell.
Gabrielle Zell, Assistant Prosecutor for the People.
Mr. Kaplan.
Jeffrey Kaplan, P 74943, on behalf of the defendant who's seated to my right, Your Honor.
And sir, you are Keyshawn Ray, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. This is the time set for a probable cause conference. Mrs. Zell, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, it's my understanding that we will be leaving this set for a preliminary exam.
All right, and that's a fair statement, Mr. Kaplan.
That's correct, Your Honor. I would note that there's not been an offer in this case
Okay.
as yet. So.
All right, so the PCC is held, and we've left on for preliminary examination on February 28th at 8:30. So that'll be next week at 8:30. It'll be live in person on the 6th floor, just like we are now. Okay, sir? All right. Anything else for the record in docket 2500386, Ms. Zell?
Not for the people.
Mr. Kaplan?
Not for the defense. Your
All right. You're all set, Mr. Ray. We'll see you next week at 8:30.
Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe so. And then he wanted me to let you know.
That's the case, you're standing in for Mr. Pfeiffer on?
Yes.
Yeah.
I always expect that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then Mr. Freisen is on cell phone. We can do his next, him next. So, Mr. Freisen, you're joining us by cell phone, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. We're going to go ahead and call your case, sir. We're on the record in docket 25-00297. That's people of the state of Michigan versus Christopher Freisen. Will the parties please introduce themselves to the record? Mrs. L.
Gabrielle Ezel, Assistant Prosecutor for the People.
Mr. Kaplan.
Jeffrey Kaplan, P 74943. On behalf of the defendant, he is appearing by teleconference.
By teleconference or Zoom. And sir, you are Christopher Freisen, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you can hear me all right, Mr. Freisen?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. This is the time set for a PCC hearing. Ms. Ezel, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, it's my understanding we will be leaving this set for a preliminary exam. There is a current plea offer that has been extended to the defendant for a plea to count 2 with the dismissal of the remaining counts. At this time, we do believe that that is not being accepted, so we will be setting for free.
All right, so this is set and left on prelim on February 28th at 9 o'clock. Is that a fair statement, Mr. Kaplan?
Yeah, sure. I would like to clarify, actually, I was just assigned this case Wednesday. We just got discovery yesterday evening. So it's not that my client doesn't want to accept. The offer will be left open until the exam, and then is withdrawn if he runs. What we had asked, if Your Honor would consider scheduling the hearing next Friday for a PCC instead of the exam, it would give my client a little more time to consider it, and then they wouldn't have to subpoena a witness and call them off.
Right.
You know, it just kind of alleviates that.
I can set it for PCC, Mr. Kaplan. But it would make more. It makes more sense if he waives his 21-day rule, so that we're not outside of that preliminary examination time.
And he's willing to do that.
Okay, if he's willing to do that, do you have any objection to that?
No, Your Honor, I would also offer, though, if we could maybe just treat the preliminary examination date as a PCC.
The PCC, that'll work. Let me take the 21-day rule waiver, and then so Mr. Freisen is willing to waive his 21-day rule, and I can inquire that, and then we'll just set the PCC for the same time period.
Excellent. Thank
All
you.
right. All right, Mr. Freisen, you understand you have a right to a preliminary examination within 21 days of your date of arraignment. A preliminary examination is a probable cause hearing in which the people would have to prove by probable cause evidence that a crime has been committed and the identity of the person who committed that crime. You are represented today by public defender Attorney Kaplan, and he would be present to cross-examine any witnesses or contest any charges brought against you by the people of the state of Michigan. It is my understanding it is your wish today to waive your right to a preliminary examination, set this for PCC next week so you can consider the offer and you can have a zealous and full representation by Mr. Kaplan in regards to the offer that was made. Is it your wish today to waive your right to a preliminary examination only within the 21-day period? You wouldn't be waiving your right to a preliminary examination in general. Is it your wish today to waive your right to a prelim within 21 days?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Mrs. L, do the people also waive their right to a prelim within 21 days?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So I find the 21-day rule to be knowing, voluntarily, and accurately made. And we will set the PCC for negotiations to continue and for the offer to be considered for September 28th. I'm sorry, what am I saying? February 28th. Everybody took notice that that was February 28th at 9 a.m. for PCC. Since it is a PCC, any objection to Mr. Freisen appearing via Zoom, and then we can either set it or if it's gonna be a plea, we'll set it for plea. Any objection to that, Mrs. L?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Kaplan?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Freisen, we are setting this for PCC next week. and that's available to come via Zoom, just like you are today. All right, sir?
Okay, the same information, the same number, right?
Same number, same information, absolutely right. It'll be the next week at 9 o'clock.
Okay,
All right, and then if you need to meet with your attorney during that time period, I'll be happy to put you in a breakout room and you can talk to him then. All right, sir?
okay.
All right. Anything else for the record in 2500297, Mrs. L?
Not for the people.
Mr. Kaplan?
Not from the defense. Your
All
Honor.
right.
Thank you.
You're all set, Mr. Freisen. We'll see you next week at 9 a.m. Thank you for your appearance today.
Thank you. All right.
You can log off,
Bye-bye.
Mr. Freisen. Bye-bye.
Okay.
We have. It is. All right, so Mr. McFall, we'll call your case. So we're on the record in docket 2401382. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Chad McFall. Will the parties please introduce themselves to the record? Mrs. L.
Gabrielle Zell, Assistant Prosecutor for the people.
Mr. Kaplan.
Jeffrey Kaplan, P74943, on behalf of the defendant who's appearing by Zoom, Your Honor.
And sir, you are Chad McFall, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you can hear me all right, Mr. McFall?
Yes.
All right, thank you. This is the time set for a probable cause conference. Mrs. L, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, at this time, the people will be moving to dismiss this case and submitting a nollie to the court. The people are unable to sustain their burden in this case.
And that's your understanding, Mr. Kaplan?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay.
I have not discussed it with my client yet. I'm assuming he's not going to object.
Right, I'm assuming you're not going to object.
No.
So the people move to dismiss without prejudice, and I'll indicate for the record what that means. But this is just a nollie, so it'll be signed by the prosecutor, not by, this is not on motion from the defense.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's prosecutor's only.
All right, so Mr. May I inquire your client of the dismissal without prejudice, Mr. Kaplan?
I'm sorry, Your Honor?
May I inquire of your client of the dismissal
yes.
without prejudice?
Absolutely.
All right, so Mr. McFall, you understand that the people are moving to dismiss this case without prejudice. Ms. Izell is signing it right now, the nollie pros, or the motion to dismiss. And what that means is the people are not, the people could reissue if they choose to, but for our purposes today, the case is dismissed. All right, sir?
Okay.
All right.
Your Honor, if I may, just for my client's edification, he has a case that's still pending in 55th District Court, a felony case. So I just want Mr. McFall to be aware that this does not dismiss that case. That
Right.
case is still ongoing. It's being handled by another defense attorney.
All right. So you understand that this case will be purged from the system due to the nollie pros, probably by 4 or 5 today, but you're being held on another file. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. I've signed the nollie pros by the prosecutor on 2401382. Anything else for the record on this file, Mrs. L?
Not for the people.
Mr. Kaplan?
Not from the defense, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. McFall, you're all set. Thank you for your appearance today.
All right, thank you.
We have Mr. Johnson, we can go on.
There you are.
All right, so Mr. Johnson, we'll call your case.
Okay.
All right, so we're on the record in docket 2500446. That is people of the state of Michigan versus Jesus Nathaniel Johnson or Jesus Nathaniel Johnson. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Mrs. L.
Gabrielle Zell, Assistant Prosecutor for the people.
Mr. Kaplan.
Jeffrey Kaplan, P74943, on behalf of the defendant who's appearing by Zoom, Your Honor.
And sir, you can correct my pronunciation. You are Jesus or Jesus Johnson?
Jesus, yep.
Okay, Jesus Johnson. And you can hear me all right, Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir, I can.
All right, thank you. This is the time set for a probable cause hearing. Mrs. Zell, how are we proceeding?
Your Honor, it's my understanding that we will be leaving this case set for a preliminary exam. There is an offer currently extended in this case. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up that wording right now. We are currently offering a plea to an added count 2 of use, and upon successful plea, we would be dismissing count 1.
And is that your understanding? Is that a fair statement, Mr. Kaplan?
That is accurate, Your Honor.
All right. All right. So, Mr. Johnson, we are leaving this on for prelim on February 28th. We have a time, 9:30. That would be next week at 9:30. That'll be live in person on the 6th floor of City Hall of Lansing. So you should be live that date at 9:30 next week. And you'll have the opportunity to talk to your counsel before and on that date. All right, Mr. Johnson?
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else for the record in docket 25-00446, Mrs. L?
Not for the people.
Mr. Kaplan?
Not for the defense, Your Honor.
All right. All right, Mr. Johnson, we'll see you next week at 9:30. We'll see you live. All right, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're all set. Thank you for your appearance today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. And of course, I did mention this. It doesn't necessarily need to be on the record, I guess, but if he decides to take the offer,
Yeah,
we'll let
Mr. Napier, are you here on the Tracy Moore sentencing? Mr. Napier? Are you here on 2403-182? No, he's connecting to audio.
He is the named victim.
All right. All right, Mr. Napier, you're here for the Tracy Moore case, is that correct? Brady Napier, you're here for the Tracy Moore case, is that correct? All right, so we're on the record in docket 24-3182. That is People of the State of Michigan versus Tracy Moore. Will the parties please introduce themselves for the record? Mrs. L.
Gabrielle Ezell, Assistant Prosecutor for the People.
Mr. Milks.
It's good morning, Your Honor. Stephen Milks on behalf of Ms. Moore. Ms. Moore is presently not here. I know I am incredibly late, and I apologize to the court for that. There was a hold up in another court. So I apologize, but I will note the court, I did have contact with her this morning. At 10 o'clock, I called her, letting her know I was running late, to which point she said she was also running late.
Okay.
I thought she would beat me here.
It's 10:43, so she's really just 30 minutes late at this point. But this is the second time, but the last time was a snow day. That was February 13th. I'd leave it up to you, Mr. Milks, if you want to give it till 11, maybe, to get here.
I'm sort of at the court's mercy right now, and your good grace. So if the court would allot me that much time.
Yeah, let's give her to 11 o'clock and we'll see if she gets here. And she's not here by 11. That gives it a full hour. And if we haven't heard anything or any contact, then she'll fail to appear. Miss Moore is looking at some jail time, and they probation told her that. Probation told her what the request was, what they're recommending. So she has an understanding what the judgment of sentence is. So it doesn't surprise me, but she's stayed in contact. So I don't know what that means, but we'll wait till 11 to find out. All right. All right. Thank you. Mrs. L.
Gabrielle Ezel, Assistant Prosecutor for the People.
Mr. Mills.
And good morning, Your Honor. Stephen Milton, on behalf of Ms. Moore. Ms. Moore is present and standing to my right at this time.
And ma'am, you are Tracy Moore, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. This is the time set for sentencing today. Is there any restitution on this file, Mrs. L?
Not that I have any documentation,
All
Your
right,
Honor.
thank you. Mr. Moore, you've had the opportunity to go through the pre-sentence report with your client?
We have had, yes, we have had the opportunity to go over the pre-sentence investigation report, Your Honor. There are no corrections, deletions to be made. We will update the court regarding her current employment status. We can do that during allocution, or if the court would.
You can do it during allocution.
Very good, thank you, Your Honor.
And then I'll make whatever editorial changes to the pre-sentence report. And then I've already made a correction on this. The judgment of sentence was a request. It doesn't look like the jail time. The request is matching up with what she pled to, because she pled to 293 days is the MDOB and the entry without permission. So just so you're aware of that I don't think they took that into consideration. Or if they did, that they're way they recommended a consecutive sentence, not a concurrent sentence.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, allocution, Mr. Milks.
Yes, and thank you, Your Honor. So, Your Honor, first and foremost, with Ms. Moore, I know that the court had some probably concerns when reading the pre-sentence investigation report. What I can say about Ms. Moore is I've had the opportunity to work with her. And her and I probably started off a little bit rocky, but I think we developed a little bit a better relationship. We understand each other and understanding that she can be, I mean, in her words, feisty might be a good way to put it, Your Honor. While she does have some trouble sometimes controlling her volume, and when she is trying to convey messages, it may come across as maybe aggressive to other people, Your Honor. In part, it's who she is. It's not her trying to be mean or cruel, Your Honor. It's a part of her, and it is something I know that she has tried to work on, Your Honor. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I will update the court to let her know that she is currently employed at Workbox Temp Services and Alexis Golden LLC. Is that right?
No.
I'm sorry.
I forget the name, but I clean up the Penobscot building for Maria, and Valerie is my supervisor.
And I do have a phone number if the court needed to verify that. That was provided me.
All right, so that's the confirmation of her work.
Yes, Your Honor. I apologize. I was looking at an older email. So thank you, Your Honor. I would be asking that. Actually, Your Honor, may I have one brief moment, if that's okay? I apologize.
Absolutely.
So I apologize, Your Honor. I would want to also update the court that my client has recently been sentenced in Detroit in a felony matter where she is receiving 2 years probation. I would ask the court to place Ms. Moore on probation at this time, allowing her probation to be transferred and to coincide with her ongoing probation out in Detroit. I think a benefit the court could see with that, one is our resources would not have to be utilized in sort of doing a double probationary term, and Ms. Moore's benefit, she wouldn't have to drive all the way out here should that sort of need arise, or should she have to come visit with probation. So I think it really is the best of both worlds, where she's getting the monitoring that the court may be concerned about, and in a place that's more local to her, so she's got at least all services that are available to her in a more localized area, Your Honor. I believe that it is appropriate in these circumstances for her to be serving a term of probation. I want to just try to underscore the fact that Ms. Moore does challenge some of the things that were placed in the report, Your Honor. The fact that she did some name calling there, she's adamant that she was not calling some of the derogative names, understanding though at the same time that she can appear as coming across a little more aggressive sometimes, and it is something that she is. It is part of her. It is part of her character. Sometimes trying to deal with and regulate some of her louder moments, to say the least, Your Honor.
All right.
If there is anything further, though, I would leave it to my client, and I thank the court.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Milks. Ms. Moore, is there anything you'd like to say to the court before the court passes sentence?
Apologize for all this.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Let's go on to my life.
Okay. Mrs. Zell, anything from the prosecutor's office?
Your Honor, we would leave this up to your discretion. We would ask that the recommendation in the pre-sentence investigation be followed though.
All right, thank you. So this is for a guilty plea to an illegal entry, which is a 93-day misdemeanor, and a malicious destruction of building less than 200, which is also a 93-day misdemeanor. So that'll change some of the recommendations, but it is ordered. This was a guilty plea taken on December 12th, 2024. Then on February 13th, that was a snow day, but we had some indication that Ms. Moore was coming and then she refused to come. Then she didn't come, but we did a courtesy reset to today's date. And then we're about an hour and a half, I think, an hour and 25 minutes from the sentencing date. Did you want to talk on that?
Just it was regarding the snow day, Your Honor. It's not that she didn't want to come or wasn't going to come. It was my understanding. I told her that if she felt unsafe, I would prefer she stay at home.
Right.
So I don't want the court to think that she was somehow.
No, and I have that in my notes, and I also have that that Lansing was hit with at least 5 inches that day. So that was and then for today's date, I know Mr. Milks was on the floor because you were in Judge Ward's courtroom, and we're doing the sentencing now. It was originally set for 10 o'clock. With that understanding, I'm ordering today that I'm not ordering probation. Probation, ma'am, simply doesn't want to work with you. Okay, that's the long and short of it. And they don't find you a good candidate for probation as part of the sentencing. You start out as an home invasion, which is a felony. It's been reduced now to the 2 misdemeanors. I'm going to indicate that the defendant is to spend 90 days in jail. Credit is given for 1 day previously served. I'm going to waive the fines and costs. I'm going to waive the crime victim's rights fee and the state minimum cost fee on both files. So there will be no monetary amount since Ms. Moore is going to be going with Ms. Slabiak and serve 90 days in jail, credits given for 1 day previously served. Anything towards the factual basis or anything towards the judgment of sentence, Mr. Milks.
To asking the court, I guess, to reconsider at this point, just considering some of the things that we said, just regarding some of her tendencies here, that she may not be fully in control of. That'd be right, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Milks. I'm not changing the judgment of sentence. I understand the argument. Ms. Moore, you're going to spend 90 days in jail starting now. Good luck to you, ma'am, okay? And that's all for the record in 2403182.
You got everything. Just make a phone call.
Yeah, I printed it. I wait for Ms. Slabiak to get her. Gabriella,
Could you please go grab that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the not marked on copy.
You need that, Wendy?
You can hand it straight to Judge, please. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, let's see, so 90 days credits given for 1 day. Two. I'm gonna put this in the file. I don't think it should go in.
Okay.
That's how I tell the difference. And we should be all set. Thank you, Mrs. L.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience. We were a little late on that one, but I think these things just kept catching up with Miss Moore, and eventually they did. You know.
I am glad we waited.
Yeah, I am too. I'd rather than put a bench warrant and then she says that's not fair. Let's just get it done. Let's wait. I don't think we have fines and costs. We want it done. She's doing her time. Let's just finish it. I think that's the preferred route to go here. So, and she had a good lawyer. I mean, Mr. Milks is not he fights for his client and he should.
Yeah.
All right, I will see you
Tuesday.
Tuesday. All right.
Oh, somebody in another courtroom must be playing a video.
Yeah.
Because I was like, why is there a honking coming from the right side?
We hear the loudest we hear is from the Capitol. With those horns, we can hear those.
Okay.
Or if anybody's driving around honking the horns, we hear those too.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever disruptive measures they've chosen, the horn really works.
Enjoy your mock trial.
Thanks. I'll let y'all know how it goes next week. So.
Yeah, I want to know how mock trial goes when you get back.
All right. If you see me coming in, just like so annoyed with high schoolers.
I don't know if it's coming from
there. It might be Simmons. I know they were running a couple of exams in Simmons.
Yeah, I was gonna say everybody else is done with their docket.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm gonna head over now, or just back, I should say. Huh? Just letting you know I'm leaving. Okay, bye.
Did you have any questions?
Uh-huh.
So you're taking some notes, but this is kind of getting to it's some of it's routine, you know. Of the forensic review.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
You handled that one well.
I was talking to her boys and they were just like, yeah, we pretty much knew this was happening.
She had to.
Yeah. No, I mean, she did. Her and I went over it and she knew everything and she handled it well.
Yes, she did.
I was very proud of her.
Then it gets really hard to get out.
Oh.
So she's got to come in, she's got to report for valuation. And she's like 100%. She first came in, those who don't wait, she wanted God to and Bible says like I gotta go back. And I'm like, there are a lot of things that you're not gonna go back. She's a lot better, but I don't know if that's medication or something. She looks about. Yeah, she got 18, they've got 18 books for the store.
Better than I could hope for.
It's a good call for them to have something in here, because I think the two boys would have given Megan a hard time all the way down to the damn gate.
I think. They know, I don't, they knew she was going to do. She never told me because she knew that she. They kind of knew.
She was fine.
Which is great. I
Yeah, she was fine. You know, my thing was because I heard the one son as he did give a hug. And, and by the way, we don't do that.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
And so I'm expecting him or them to blow up at that point.
Yeah.
You know, we can't even hug our mom. But I was shocked that no one said anything.
Yeah.
And then I purposely, got behind those guys in case they decided to come running out. And no, we can't have that. But no, they're smooth.
Good. Well, and that's the thing. It takes one moment like that, and things just go.
He's trouble.
Me? I was good today. Where are you? Well, I was a little late, but I was otherwise good today.
I like what you did there. I like that. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. How have you been? You doing all right?
I'm hanging in there.
Good.
While we're all the same, I'll let Donald explain. She's watching it. She's not.
Oh. But no, I appreciate you being there.
Well, and the younger one, he looked like he was ready to just come over this damn.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
He was, just burning a hole, not through you.
Yeah.
But he just burned a hole through the judge. And I'm going, is this guy going to sit there and be in trouble, make a big, huge scene?
Right.
If she goes off, they're going to go off. But luckily, she didn't.
Yeah.
And he restrained, but yeah, he was back here huffing and puffing. And it's like, God damn it.
I was terrified for because I think your security got called into probation.
That's what they were sitting there saying.
And she was calling retarded and just going on. She had to come back on a different day, telling people that you don't know what you're doing your job. Not uncommon, but still.
Yeah.
When you're supposed to be on your best behavior, it's.
You think so?
Did she flip out when she got booked?
No.
Oh, that's good.
Well, I can't say that because
I just wondered why Megan wasn't back yet.
Well, Megan wouldn't be doing it. She'd be getting the hell out the way while they take care of business. So, she was waiting for a cuss right now. But no, she was quiet, subdued, didn't say a thing, followed directions. And that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Well, that's good. You're gonna need the bigger size of that.
Yeah, it's fair.
It's a sleep-by mess, even now that they're grown and out of the house.
No, that's fair. I put a lot of Baileys in mine though.
Yeah.
Well, if you have a girl,
That's the opposite.
if you have a girl, I would suggest that you just buy stock.
No, we're having boys. A boy.
Well, that's good.
I think I prefer a girl. No, I would like to have a girl too.
So Darian used to meet me at the door with a 5th of Jack and say, I need you to have a couple sips and we gotta talk about school.
She's a twin. Yes.
Oh. Mhm.
Yes. Now I worry about her because she lives in Alpena, but she's moving home in July.
Okay.
Her husband's K9 MSP.
Oh.
So she is 4.5 hours away if anything happens to her husband with no family. So I am not thrilled with that.
She's in the same state?
Yeah, but still, there's rules. The kids are supposed to live within 10-mile radius of me.
A
There's a
10-mile
rule.
radius.
My oldest has pushed it. She's exactly at 10. The other twin is at 6. And the twin that defects all the time because of her husband buys a house across the street, then all will be well in the realm. Not across the street from me, across the street from her twin.
That's fair. That's fair.
Then all will be right in the realm.
Well, good.
And then they're going through in vitro right now. And so
Yeah.
Michael, my husband is holding out for 10 grandkids. We're at 6. I hate to tell him, I think he might get one more, but that might be the end of that.
What,
But
have they
with the twin-
extracted already for the?
She's waiting till she's home. She wants family support.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, she wants all of us around her.
Surgery's not bad. It's not as bad as people say it is.
No, and she knows, and she's talked to a lot of people who've
Yeah.
gone through it and stuff. She's just, Darian is not my patient child.
What?
She's
It's
my
the-
wild child. Yeah, her entire wedding was by the seat of her pants. I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that she didn't know where her wedding dress was on the day of the wedding.
So there's gonna be a lot of shots she's gonna have to do.
She's right now, she works at the Alpena Hospital. She's in charge of staffing the
Okay.
emergency room.
The person who couldn't find her wedding
Yes.
dress is part of logistics and staff. Okay.
For whatever reason, job wise, she's always fine with that. It's
Good.
shit at home.
I actually I empathize with that. Yeah.
I packed their soccer gear until they graduated high school because we would get to the tournament and Darian would have lunch. I would follow Darian's path to figure out where things were, like hairbrushes. I don't know where they all went.
Uh-huh.
I usually found them in the refrigerator
Why not?
because she would be brushing her hair, walking and talking, and put it down while she grabbed something out of the refrigerator. Darian will use 42 glasses in a day. She'll get a glass, take a sip, set it somewhere, can't remember where it is, and starts over. Every time she comes down and stays with her sister, Lauren literally hides the cups.
Smart move. Yeah. Is she ADD? No,
She's just Darian.
because I do that. I always have to have a hot and cold drink. Not always, but I usually have to have a hot and cold drink. I don't know why, but I'm a cup user as well,
She just can't remember where she puts stuff.
and that's also my problem.
We did find the wedding dress. And
Thank God. What? I was hoping she didn't go on her birthday soon, so that is definitely good. Yeah.
I'm telling you, that child. I was like, so where do you think it would be? I was like, let's read.
Let's review.
So I saw your dress when I went and picked up my dress of the alterations. And you told me not to get the dress. So what happened after that? I told Dad to get the dress when he was working at Becker's. I was like, so you trusted your dad to get a dress while he's working? Interesting. I said, you do know that the van is a hot disaster. They're electricians. I mean, they get
Oh,
dirty.
yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. She was, well, I'm sure he put it someplace safe. Michael, where's Darian's wedding dress? What's it look like? It's black. What the fuck? You know, and he goes, well, I was at Becker's and Shelly gave me this really big bag. I said, where's the big bag? He goes, it's in the car. I said, which? He goes, well, it's in your car. I said, well, it wasn't when we arrived. Did it somehow magically appear in my car? He goes, yeah. I was like, how did it get here? He goes, I figured out I forgot it and I called my mom and she brought it. So where were you to tell me you had Darian's dress? Before the heart attack, after the heart attack, during the panic mode? When? Because when you guys are getting your hair done, I was like, yes, the veil needs to go on her head.
But see,
It gets better. It
Yeah.
gets better. Because he's like, well, Dylan said she's not using the veil. I'm like, how would Dylan know? That's that husband. Because well, that's what he told me. He said she's not putting the sticky thing in her head.
Yep, that tracks, yep.
I mean, yeah. I'm not lying to you. I would probably drink my body weight in mimosas that morning.
Oh, yeah, no, I yep, yep. Yeah, that's.
And then Owen cracks me up at the time he was 6. He's like, Gigi, I'm supposed to walk you down the aisle, make sure you don't trip. Okay, buddy.
Good for you.
You trip as much as I do. Are you sure this is a good
Are you?
Because Papa said that's supposed to hold your hand and walk down the aisle. Okay, let's do it then. He goes, okay.
Did anyone trip? So see, it
was
system
so funny,
works.
'cause when we were walking, all of us, we're supposed to go slow and smile. I was like, "You talking to your aunt?" He gave me instructions, and he's whisper talking as a 6-year-old.
Oh, you're back. Did it go all right?
Yeah, she was fine. Not very happy, obviously, but
No.
I had Red Bull. I'm all better now.
Red Bull.
I
Where'd you
had
get that from?
Lindsay went next door and got me that orange thing that you had. I don't think I should have drank that much caffeine that fast.
Boy.
Yeah, she's in for a rough afternoon.
Oh boy.
Caffeine affects me.
Oh. Oh.
I don't drink caffeine very often.
Oh.
Files to
Good
go
luck.
pass out.
Are you gonna tell me what you want me to order you for lunch, or am I gonna guess?
I'll take a sandwich.
Yeah, I think I want a
Oh.
burger.
Where'd you get a burger at?
Cheapies.
Oh.
I just don't know what all they put on there.
They put ketchup on it. Ketchup
But
and
there's other
pickles.
things.
Okay.
Like I like tomato for some things, but not on a burger. You know
It
what I
doesn't
mean?
come with it unless you ask for it.
So I like tomato for some things, but not for a burger.
She doesn't like salad on a burger.
So was
What? I like lettuce.
You want lettuce?
Yeah. I just don't like tomato.
What? So
What
was
do you
it
mean, what?
cold growing up in communist Siberia?
Mhm.
You non-tomato loving burger person? Terrible.
So regular comes with mustard, ketchup, pickle, and onion. I don't want mustard.
What is wrong with you?
I thought that we're not muted.
Hello,
That
this
we're live.
is Steve Feigelson.
I hope you guys didn't talk about too much.
Yep.
We could probably just take Zoom off actually because